Keep in mind, there's 2 meetings coming up. Tomorrow, the infrastructure meeting, which is all the engineering crew, PPW crew. That's tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. And Tuesday at 2 is everyone that's been at the regular meetings. We're going to do a wrap-up on what went well, what could be improved. Notwithstanding, I know we got a lot of issues we're still facing, but while it's fresh, let's just run down National Grid. You're number 1 on the list because it's the most important thing at the moment to a lot of people.
Yeah. Presently, we have 3,957 customers out in the Quincy area. 1,900 of those customers live in the House Neck area. I just got off the phone with one of the supervisors down there. They're going around checking fuses. They've been working with the city wiring inspector to make sure, unsafe conditions of houses have been underwater. And then they're gonna start, hopefully by the end of this evening, they're gonna start firing up, energizing the lines.
The longer-term work is absolutely needed. This is an emergency repair to restore it back to its condition that it is right now. Its condition right now needs to be replaced ultimately. Where, as you know, Mr. Mayor, we have 2 sections of Adam Short Drive where you've received design money grants, and also for Manat Ave. The combination of that. Correct, included. Starting from Chickatawbut all the way to the far east side of Manat. That's about a $14 million repair, replacement.
Yeah, we found damage on several roadways, specific with pavement structure. Rotor Drive, Bayswater, Macy Road, Turner, Post Island Road, Edgewater, Spring Street, Turn, and C Street. Similarly, many of those same...
Is it a complete reconstruction or is this?
Short term, no. Short term, I think there can be emergency repairs done to make the streets passable. Long term, there's going to need to be some significant pavement reconstruction in many of these areas.
And you're out there with the flyers, right? Letting
Yes.
people know what's going on.
We've been out in the neighborhood talking with folks out there as we're out there handing out flyers. We're going to develop another flyer for those folks that won't have electricity, be able to put electricity on until they...
Part of that distribution of flyers is the information. So we're going to waive all permit fees for people. I'm sure it's going to be mostly electrical, but whatever building department fees they may normally get incurred. I know the electrical side, you're bringing on extra help to work with National Grid to get as many houses on.
We're going to ramp that up.
If people can understand that you turn stuff on too soon and things aren't dried out or there's some damage, it could cause more havoc with fires and so forth. So we got to be, very careful.
So damage assessment teams will be going out tomorrow to probably I would say the top 20, 25 communities, to take kind of a quick snapshot of where the damage is, what the sort of big ticket items are. Also tomorrow, on the conference call we're having in the afternoon to sort of talk about debris management and assessment. We'll see if there's any lingering issues going on. Today, the Civil Air Patrol is running a mission for us to take imagery of the entire coastline from Quincy down to Plymouth. Tomorrow, they're going to run another mission where I think they're going from Salisbury all the way down probably to Chatham, and then they're going to go over the islands just to sort of take a snapshot of exactly where all the damage is. We have other imagery. When we go to FEMA and try to get a declaration, if we say this is what it looked like before, this is what it looked like after, that kind of carries a lot of weight. So we'll be sending out, unfortunately, a lot of paperwork that needs to be filled out, but we've had a lot of emergencies in the past 7 or 8 years, so a lot of the people in Quincy are sort of used to filling out the paperwork, and we really appreciate the kind of cooperation that we have with you. And then obviously hiring an engineering company to sort of come in and put all the stuff together for you is a really good idea. It's well worth the money. But at this point, we don't know really the breadth of the damage. That's what we're going to try to figure out next week. We have 30 days to see if we meet the threshold. The statewide threshold is $9.4, $9.5 million around there. But there's also a county-based threshold. I think in Norfolk County it's probably 2.4 million, something like that. So hold me to that, but so we got to reach the county threshold and then a statewide threshold in order to trigger a federal declaration.
So who's on that conference call?
We're going to put that out to all communities in the state. So we'll be sending information out on that probably today. I don't know the exact time, I'd tell you if I knew, but that's where we're gonna go through the entire process, from A to Z, to tell everybody really what they need to do and what we're gonna be doing in the next week or two to get the declaration request together for the governor, so he can sign it and hopefully get it to him, so.
First and foremost, I want to say publicly how grateful I am to your leadership, your help, constantly in the last few days. Both you and Karen have been on the phone and texting, and that crucial time when we needed more help with evacuations, you made additional units. So we had 5 units of the Guard here working very hard, helping us get them off the peninsula. So truly appreciate all that. The MBTA buses for heating, working with DCR on Quincy Shore Drive. The cooperation's just been incredible. So first of all, let me say thank you on behalf of the residents of the city. So today we've had our assessment teams out there, a lot of engineers and a lot of our city folks looking at the damage. If I could, I'm just going to call in a couple people to give a brief flavor of what we've been dealing with. Chief Keenan is our police chief. Paul, maybe you can talk a minute or so.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Governor. As you know, we took a severe hit to the coastal areas of the city of Quincy. With the assistance of the National Guard, they were outstanding. Just kudos to them. They activated our Marine unit, our scuba unit, and they went with the National Guard officers into the homes. We put a police officer, a scuba unit, a Marine unit with a scuba suit on, not with the air packs, but with the rest of the scuba suit to get into the homes to get these people out. With the assistance of the MBTA, we set up a command and control center down at C Street and Palmer Street, which is where the most affected area was. They were excellent. The T was there for around the clock for several days. We used them as a command post. The Norfolk County Sheriff then brought a command unit, incident command unit in that we utilized. Brewster Ambulance was there around the clock, as was National Grid. I can't say enough about National Grid. They kept us up to date, real time on where the outages were and how they were handling them, and they still continue to do so. There have been crews down in that area, the affected area, since the beginning of the storm. They couldn't get in, unfortunately, for quite some time because of the water. We worked, like I said, around the clock. We started about 2 hours before the storm surge hit, and we just closed up finally yesterday about 11 o'clock last night. So
You're still seeing the same level of tidal rise? I mean, I know the first high tide and the last high tide, there's like a foot or so of difference. But I was up in Gloucester earlier today, and even that high tide was pretty significant. Was the last high tide for you folks at noon a big one?
it was, but it started to subside because the wind had died down a little bit. Initially, the first push with the high tide, the water never really left. So we were shut off from Howe's Neck for the most part,
okay.
and then the new high tides just added to it. So it never really stopped.
Okay.
Chief Barron, who heads up the emergency management part of our city, we're obviously pretty active. Chief?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Governor Baker. We ramped up very early. We took advantage of the early warning under the mayor's direction. We met on Thursday afternoon, started our resource allocation. Normally, I have 40 firefighters on duty. During this entire event, we had up to 60 firefighters on duty. As the chief explained, we had the Howe's Neck area in Squantum that turned into Highlands, so we, for a period of time, treated it as separate fire departments. We normally have one engine in service on those 2 peninsulas. I have to also mention Brewster Ambulance had a commitment of resources into those stranded areas and did an outstanding job. Part of our challenges were we were working with 4 to 5 operational periods where we couldn't relieve these people in those areas, and they performed tremendously. The cooperation of all the city departments was excellent, and the residents themselves, banding together, helping each other out. We had help from a number of commercial entities, a couple of different sub-shops, Time Out Sub Shop, Harry's. At one point, I got a call that we had 80 people at the shelter at the Atherton Howe. And we were able to get food sent to them, 40 pizzas at one time. We also had food from the Red Cross and the Salvation Army, which were excellent as well. It was really a community effort, and everybody worked together well. So it was a all hands on deck, and we certainly appreciate everybody that came to and helped out.
In the spirit of time, Governor, I know we can't have everybody speak, but can't say enough about all the departments working together in the schools. We actually had a custodian cooking burgers at one point, and that after them off of a generator because we had lost some power in the building. So that's why we needed the pizza, so a little rescue. We were prepared, but things went pretty well. So we're shifting from obviously what was the rescue and evacuation effort and making sure everyone was safe now to the cleanup operation, the assessment operation.
We shifted into pumping and drainage operations today, structural damage assessment, cleaning and debris removal, and we'll be following up with trash removal. But we did a lot of damage assessment. We've had about 65 pieces on the roads of equipment, over 100 personnel. We've pumped out at least 40 homes now. We have about 80.
Okay.
We're continuing to take calls.
I'll jump over the engineers, but so for purposes of those people that were affected, we're gonna have rubbish pickup every day this
Every
week
day this week.
as they bring stuff out. Again, no gasoline, no paint cans, and leave the construction debris to your contractors. So the seawalls along here took a real beating, seemed to be.
This is the stretch here, the 2.5 miles?
That's Wellison Beach here, that's
Yeah.
DCR. This was cut off, Germantown for a period, Swan was cut off, Marina Bay was cut off, all separately, but House Neck was cut
No
off
kidding.
for a 2-day
Wow.
total period, so.
Marina Bay?
Did Commander Shea on one side from the Neponset River, Victory Road from Dorchester Bay, just overwhelmed it, so it was cut off as well. So we had extra fire apparatus up at that location as well.
So there's a fair amount of seawall work to do. We inspected the roadways, about 11 roadways have significant damage. Sidewalks have buckled. It's amazing what the surge did. There's about 7 areas where the sidewalks need to be fully replaced. Too early to assess the cost of the roads and sidewalk, but we'll be doing that in days to come.
What about tide gates, Paul?
There were 2 tide gates that were damaged. We found one this morning. That tide gate is being repaired this afternoon by Weston and Sampson. They're doing our maintenance. Ty and Bond will be returning to the city tomorrow to do a more detailed assessment of the seawall damage. So the $3.3 million is a preliminary cost right now. We'll find out more this week.
Sure, initial assessment, we have well over 100 structures that have substantial flood damage. An additional 50 have additional electrical equipment damage where homeowners are not going to be able to move in very quickly until that gets repaired. And then we have a handful of foundation problems where the building is unsafe to occupy.
Is the electrical stuff circumstances when people's basements got flooded and that's where the electricals were in their house, that type of thing?
That's correct.
So we're bringing in additional electricians to help the inspection services today to work with National Grid to go house by house and essentially get these people back up and running.
How many people do you have who aren't in their homes and don't have power?
I'm sorry?
How many people don't have power at this point? Curious.
1,900 of them is in the House Neck area.
Okay.
We're looking
Yeah.
at seawalls. We also, in the rest, is scattered throughout the city. So we do have crews, we have crews out there working right now, not assessing, restoring and making safe and starting to energize them.
Public buildings wise, we did pretty well. The Broadmeadow School, which we lost all their boilers and electrical equipment in the January 100-year storm, we were well prepared and pumps and all kinds of work was done ahead of time to mitigate that, so we were okay with that. But the land around it, the sidewalks around it took a beating, buildings on piles, so we had a lot of filling to do in and around the building. But the school was safe for occupancy. Any other questions? I'll hit the road.
Keep good track of the work you're doing on the assessment stuff. Obviously, at this point, with the emergency declaration, we've called in people from FEMA, and we fully expect that we spend a lot of time with them over the course of the next month or so. We also, because of the emergency declaration, you guys do have the ability to do emergency procurements and mutual aid type stuff that you normally can't do under traditional circumstances, so that people can get stuff done in a hurry. Especially the seawall stuff in particular is something where people need to move quickly. I think the state can give you the authority to do that. We've talked to a number of mayors who've said permitting takes a really long time on this stuff, and we basically said in the short term, talk to us, tell us what you want to do, but we don't want people to leave situations and circumstances in place that are going to cause trouble and create additional problems for the communities.
So, you know, you see some of the stuff on this back.
So this is the marsh.
This is the marsh, and behind it is the marsh. It kind of gets surrounded by between the ocean and the marsh.
Does it come up underneath it? Or does it always just come over? Well, we're obviously going to work closely with the folks here, the mayor's team, and also with our colleagues at MEMA and with the folks at FEMA, and make sure we do all we need to do to keep track of the damage that was done here and determine what we get the feds to help us with. And what we really need to do is talk about structural fixes, and that was something the mayor reminded me that we gave the city about $500,000 to do some design and study on what might be the right way to deal with this issue going forward. Because clearly the rise in sea levels and the rise in water temperatures won't be the last time we have another 100-year storm here. So this is going to create an enormous hardship for these folks. We have to work with the city and others to figure out how to help them deal with it. I mean, if you think about it, between the marsh over here and the water running all the way out to the sea street, this whole area is practically an island at some point during the storm. And some of these houses are raised, but many of them aren't. And we're going to have to figure that out as well.
Oh, we're working very hard on the issue. We ask people to be as patient as they can on the cleanup. We're providing pumping, we're providing cleanup, rubbish collection every day in this area in the coming week, as well as a lot of the other areas that we did the same way. But I just can't thank everybody enough for cooperation between all the teams, the governor, lieutenant governor, possibly the last couple of days, providing the National Guard to help us evacuate areas like this. MBTA providing buses to warm people, Red Cross, Salvation Army. Everybody just pulled together, and now it's cleanup, it's assessment. We're using some of our affordable housing trust money to help with some transitional housing, some folks that may be out of their home for months. So we're working at it from all angles, and I just appreciate the cooperation.
I mean, they have more does the this along what I would describe as a commercial.
Oh yeah, right in the main drag there.
Which is a different, which is a whole different animal.
To be honest, we left with our 6-year-old grandson and our 92-year-old, son's mom. We knew it was going to get bad, so we evacuated ahead of it. Our son, who was right, around the corner, he and his wife went out in the front end loader about maybe 3 or 4